Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Well Expo today. And I am chatting to a very dear friend of mine. I first met Anne-Marie when we moved up to Donegal maybe 18 years ago. And I cannot believe we were there with little babies at the time. And here we are talking menopause.
Oh, Barbara.
Anne-Marie, you are so welcome. Did we ever think we'd see the day?
I know. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, didn't time fly? What happened to us, Barbara?
I know.
We're still hanging in there, my friend.
Nappies at the same time, and now here we are with Leaving Cert students and whatnot.
I know.
Oh, God bless us. Menopause, Anne-Marie, and fitness is your thing. And for as long as I've known you, fitness has always been your thing, because I remember you were swimming.
That's
when
right.
I first met you, and you were lifeguarding, and
that's
so
right. Yeah.
always been in part of your picture. So, fitness and menopause. Where do we start?
Well, first of all, with menopause, I mean, for, the way I would have, my introduction to menopause years ago was the likes of my mother and her sisters and their friends. They couldn't even say the word. They couldn't even say menopause. It wasn't even, it was the change, and you would hear these ladies talking about, so she's going through the change and it's her change. And I was thinking, what the hell is she going to change into? I didn't know. I thought she was going to change into a cat or something. I had no idea. Couldn't even say the word. So here we are, that it's something like, for the likes of ladies like yourself who are bringing it to the forefront, because it's something that us girls are going to go through, and it kind of hits you before you realize where you are. You don't even think that you're on that road. And perimenopause is something for me that I didn't think for a second I was in. I was not in denial, but going through my 40s and everything, yourself, you're at a stage where your children are young and you're caught up in everything else. And the last thing you think about is that this is coming for me, because you don't feel you're on that road at all. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, maybe your periods start getting a little bit spaced out, and there's more time between them. You kind of think, God, am I pregnant? Or you know what I mean? You're not really too sure. And you think, no, that didn't happen. So but then you start to think, well, crikey, I am 45, 46, 47, 48. And this is coming for me. And it seems to be that it's coming for ladies a little earlier than maybe 10 years ago. So I am now, I'll be 51 next month. So I am on that road, definitely in there. And as you say, exercise has always been something that has been to the forefront in my life. I always felt that I was at my best mentally and physically, obviously, when I exercised. The times that I found the hardest in my life were times that I couldn't exercise, that I wasn't able to get to the gym. And yourself, some of the circumstances that I've been through, and I found myself vacant of all types of exercise. So when it comes to menopause, I joke with my ladies about it, because the majority of my ladies are a lot younger than me, and I'm like, oh, menopause, you wait, and they're like, oh. But it's not something to be afraid of. Obviously, it is a change in our lives. It's something that it's Mother Nature's way, and at the end of the day, she knows what she's doing. It's her way of saying to us that fertility part of your life is coming to a close. And it's weird, because we may have spent a lot of our time initially trying not to get pregnant, and then trying to get pregnant, and then being pregnant, and then trying again not to get pregnant. And then it's like, well, actually, this rug has been slowly pulled away from underneath you, and it's not really your choice anymore.
Yeah,
so
and you see,
I think
funny you say that, because I remember when my GP said to me, you know what, Barbara, yeah, definitely, you're perimenopausal, you have hit that. And I would have been in mid-40s like that. Yes. As well. I was so relieved. I kind of went, oh, thank God. I actually saw it as a seize the moment. My contribution to society was finished. Yeah. And this was now time for me. Yeah. And this was now time for me. You know what I mean? And took it on the positive way. But like that, it was the exercise side of things that I went, great. Focus on me time now. Yes. And I think this is why the exercise bit is so important.
100%. So when it comes to exercising, obviously, I would advise ladies to exercise at any stage and every stage of their life. And it is difficult when a lady comes to this stage and she hasn't been active for, say, her 20s, 30s and 40s, and then she finds herself, and one of the things that's screaming out as regards advice on how to handle this is, oh, you need to exercise. She's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. I've never done anything. It's like, well, I go walking, and that's fine. Walking is great. It gets you out in the fresh air. But if you want to put a noted change on your body, walking isn't enough. You know, you have to get into a regime that is structured and consistent. So my advice to start with is to find something basically that you like to start with, because other than that, you're going to find a million excuses not to do it. You know, as I say, there's no point in going from doing very little to being expected to join a CrossFit group. You know, it is not for you. But there are so many different things that you can do. If you're somebody who hasn't come from that angle of exercising, is to have a good look at your life and see, where do you have time? What do you have time for? And to focus on something that you think, yeah, I think I could do that. You know, I have different disciplines in my place in AMD Fitness. I have the trampoline fit, which is something that is very, very, very popular. I have circuits.
Yes.
Yeah, the trampolines are a great way of exercising, because I would have ladies who come into me that like exactly that. They're saying to me, I'm in my 40s now, my knees are creaking, my ankles are creaking, I have weight on, I'm not happy in myself. And they give me a whole list of things that they can't do. They say, I can't do this, I can't do squats, I can't run, I can't do burpees, I can't do, and it's all of these things. They barge me with all the negative. And I'm like, well, do you think you could stand on a trampoline and hold onto a handle and bounce up and down? They're like, I suppose I could try that. And they do. And they end up giving it a go, loving it, getting a great workout. But I mean, I know obviously where I'm placed, not everybody is in my area, and the trampoline fit isn't everywhere. It's not in every gym. It's not in every community hall or whatever. So there are so many things you can do that between walking, if as I say, get out and get into the fresh air and start walking, but use that as a headspace, a clearer. That's the one that you kind of like open yourself up to getting into a bit of exercise. Fast walking, like set yourself a pace where you have a little route where you say, I'm going to walk from here to here, see how long it takes you. Say, okay, if it takes me 25 minutes to walk from here to here, the next time I'm going to do it, it's going to take me 20 minutes. And you gradually start building up until you are feeling that you are pressured with sweat running down your back, and that you are starting to feel
and that's
a bit
the
compromised.
thing. It has to be a paced walk where you feel that your circulation is actually starting to build up, and
Exactly.
the heart rate is going. It's not a stroll.
Yes, exactly. And that is where you kind of start. So you get used to that, and you get into an environment where you think, yeah, this isn't so bad. I handled that. I did it in 20 minutes. Now that is tough. You feel the sweat running down your back, and you are challenged. So you go on from that and you think, well, what else can I do? I've managed the walking end of it, and I'm walking at a fast pace. You look at what is going on and you're like, my cat is starting to meow.
Yes, I love being live.
You've had it.
And even better when the guest leaves their seat. But Anne-Marie is right when it comes
Cat's going
to
for a run.
walking. Anne-Marie is so right when it comes to walking. You do need to get your heart rate up so as that it is doing something for your cardio, because it's that
Definitely.
cardio side of things, you know.
It's so important.
Yeah.
So important, because our heart health is so important during menopause and what is coming down the line, you know, as regards being able to keep, you know, we're at a stage where, you know, a woman of 50, say 10 or 15 years ago, is very different now than women 10 or 15 years ago. And you get a lot of young grandmas. I mean, we're all in the age group where we could be grandmas, you know. You want to keep up with your family, you want to keep up with your grandchildren, all that. So the heart health is very important. We are at a stage where, you know, we don't like to think about heart attacks and cancers, but then you hear of your friends and your family members and you say, so-and-so had a heart attack and she was 53. You're like, what? Or so-and-so has been diagnosed with breast cancer and she's 55. And you think to yourself, whoa. And then you have to stop and look at your own lifestyle. You have to look at the stress elements in your life, your exercise and your diet. These are the key things that will keep you healthy, no matter what stage, but especially in menopause. You have bone density, which is affected as we get older. You have the possibility of osteoporosis. You know, as I say, your cardio health is so important. So there are so many different things that you can do. I have a group of ladies who train with me, and they're all very, very different ladies. But at the end of it all, right in the heart of it all, we're all quite fundamentally the same. We want the best for ourselves, we want the best for our families, and we want longevity for our own health. So
that
once
thing
you have,
that you said actually about bones,
yes.
I'm sure you remember there a couple of years when I broke both my arms
yes.
at the same time.
Oh, Barbara,
I know.
leave it to you.
But one of the things actually that came from that, there was two things. One, there was a nurse kept saying to me, at your age, and I kept looking at her going,
Got a
sorry,
puncture.
what? I'm only 50. But two, actually, what came out of it was I ended up going to have a DEXA scan because they actually wanted to check the density of my bones. Now, I happen to be very lucky that my bones are fine. But it is one of those things that I suppose the resistance training that I would have always done.
Stood for you then.
Yeah, it stood to me. And even though I was doing it, you know, a good while ago, it still meant that, you know, your bones are like, they need that.
100%, 100%. I have a lady who started training with me a while ago, and she would be well into her 60s. Like that, she went for the scan and she was not happy with the result. And they said to her, you need to start doing a weight bearing exercise or resistance. This lady had never put so much as a toenail across a gym in her life. And she came to me and she was very, very upset. She didn't know where to start. So we started at the beginning with the walking and the whole thing of that. And we went into personal training, and I said to her, I'm going to put you up to the weight rack. Well, I mean, she nearly passed out peacefully. And I said, no, I said, this is for you. I said, you might not believe it, but this is for you. And I said, this is what you are going to need in order to improve your bone density, your bone health, and how you are going to, you know, glide through into your older years, you know. So we went through a program of intensive training. It wasn't hard that she couldn't do it, but it was definitely hard for her. And week by week, I could see a difference in this lady. She was getting more and more competent, stronger, and you could see her shape changing. So we would have exercised very, very tough for about, I would say, 4 or 5 months, and she went and had a second scan. And they were like, what did you do? And she said, I started lifting weights. And they said, keep lifting weights. Now she's well into her 60s.
Yeah, and you see, the thing is, actually, at that is the starting small, starting slow. You know, it's not overnight. It's not just do it one day. It is a program, and a, you know, that
100%. 100%. That is the key with any exercise program is, you know, you have to find something that suits yourself, suits your lifestyle, and that you like. If you're going to see a personal trainer, you have to like your personal trainer. You have to have something that, you know, you feel that you're going to spend a lot of time with this person in close proximity, 2 meters apart now, and you're not going to be at your best. You're going to be sweaty. You're going to be huffing and puffing. Whether you want to train as a woman with a man, that's entirely up to you. I know a lot of ladies prefer to train with a lady, and that's fine because they feel lady trainers understand them a little bit better, and that's fine. I know some men who are fantastic trainers, but you know, girls do tend towards, you know, going to, it doesn't bother me either way, you know, I can totally understand it. And personal training is something that is designed for yourself specifically. And if you are menopausal and you have that issue with your bones, your muscle mass is depleting, you need to keep your muscle mass strong. You know, it's like when we see the older ladies and they have that kind of look, you can see that their muscle mass has depleted, their bones, they've got the curvature.
See this bit here? That's, I think that for me personally, that was one of the first places, and I suppose and I kind of said, no, I really do need to work on that bit, because that triceps. Yes, I remember.
Good girl.
I know.
Yeah.
But the triceps there, the back of the arms, you know, that's one of the things I think a lot of women they find, because then they stop wearing the nice short sleeves because they feel their arms
aren't right.
Bare.
Yeah.
You know,
and the thing is with that, you know, I try and explain to a lot of my ladies, you know, like in days gone by, you know, a lot of men would have lifted, you know, a lot of heavy weights and things like in their daily work, you know, and as ladies, we were never really encouraged to lift things above our heads. You know, we just weren't. We carried children and we carried here, we lifted in and out of cars. And then when that kind of stops, these kind of muscles advertently atrophy and they're not as strong as they were. So we're not walking around in our daily work lifting, you know, bricks above our head or whatever. So that's why you need to home in specifically on these areas. And as I was saying to my ladies this morning, I did a circuit class before now. I mean, we were working triceps and biceps. We were homing in, we were doing 2 sets on that. And I was saying to these girls that sometimes the exercises we find difficult are the ones we don't want to do because we find them difficult, and they're the ones we need to do because we find them difficult, you know. So it's all about, as well as that, it's like recognition, repetition. You recognize the exercise, you keep repeating it until you're like, yeah, this is getting easier and easier and easier. And I'm finding that I'm starting to see the results, you know? So all of those things, the cardio strength, the osteoporosis, the bone density, that is why exercising is so important. And it is the key.
We have that middle bit as well, Anne-Marie.
Oh, Barbara, what? Where did it come out of? It's like all of a sudden we've got a life ring around our belly, you know? And, you know, so, I mean, so the exercise is there to help control your weight, because sometimes your weight goes bonkers in menopause. And even if it's not a thing that you're putting on actual weight as in stones and pounds, but you feel that bloated, lethargic thing and an increase in fat. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe your jeans don't do up like they did. So exercising regularly will help that. It's definitely something that will help that issue also. And your body, your overall body shape, you know yourself, when you feel out of shape, you look in the mirror, you're like, well, feckin' hell, what happened to me? You know?
Yeah, I know, because you're hooshing and tucking and whatnot.
This is it.
You're
This
just
is
trying
it, you know?
to put yourself back in.
Definitely. So, I mean, that in conducive, I know you've had a lady on who spoke about health, and it was so eloquent and so lovely as regards food. And I mean, the food and the exercise, they're married up together, along with sunlight and water. I mean, these are things that a lot of the ladies, obviously now we've been lucky with, since the lockdown and the sunlight, able to get out in. Traditionally, we're a country that's not renowned for having great sunlight. So you're talking like things like vitamin D supplements, but your water, girls, that is a key, because everything flourishes when it's hydrated, including us. So sun and water, they are the keys for life, basically. You know, that everything grows in the sun and water and flourishes as we do, you know.
So
it means
top tips. Getting started. So to take the fear out of starting.
Yeah.
For anybody watching out there now.
Yeah, definitely have a look around, girls, at what is in your local community, because if you're going to have to drive 45 minutes to a class, that's the first thing that's going to stop you. You know, it's the journey. You're talking, that's 3 hours out of your day with a round journey. So that's the first thing. That's an obstacle. So look at what is around you. There are some great trainers. There's some great community halls. There's people set up everywhere. Have a look at what's going on pretty much on your doorstep or online
too, though, aren't you?
Pardon?
You're online as well.
Yeah, online as well. Online's a great tool. Now I'm getting a website built for me. I didn't have a website. It was something that I wanted to do prior to this, but my website is in construction at the minute. But I do a Facebook Live class with a group of ladies. I'm on 6 mornings a week, and we do a mixture of trampolines and HIIT classes, because I gave my trampolines to my ladies when my place closed down. So we do trampoline classes on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We do HIIT class on a Tuesday, Thursday, and a Saturday. So these ladies have been coming on with me 6 days a week since lockdown started.
Fair play.
Fair play is right.
Fair play to you, because you gave them your equipment.
I did. I gave it out and said, look, girls, take trampolines. I have 40 trampolines, and they went like that. And the ladies are working out in their own homes on with me in the morning. Some were saying, Anne-Marie, I've never worked out like this in my life. And I'm like, there you go. There you go. I mean, we all slip and slide when it comes to the food. I had a very dodgy week myself the week before last. So I was telling the guys, I was like, geez, I was nearly force feeding myself. Barbara, I had a trail over and back to the fridge, beat in the ground. I was like, what am I doing? You know?
Yeah, no, we do. And I think that definitely started in this house too, you know. So the fridge was moved out to the utility room so that I didn't have to kind of look at it, because otherwise between the fridge and the biscuits and the press, it's nuts. Yeah. It's nuts,
yeah. You know. And I knew I was working out to a good level, but I just knew that I was basically overfeeding myself, and I really, really felt it. And I just basically cut it all in. I set my ladies a little challenge for the month of June, and I called it the What Will This Do For Me challenge. So basically we were applying it to everything that you were going to cook and that you were going to eat and that you were going to do, and say, okay, so I'm going to plow into this donut because I really I want to have this. What will this do for me? And I think, well, okay,
it's a good idea, actually.
You know what I mean?
That's a really good idea.
Yeah. So whether it's good or bad, so you think, okay, I'm going to have my omelette. What will this do for me? This is going to give me my protein. This is going to be calorie sufficient. It's going to keep the calories down. It's going to give me the nutrients I need, as opposed to the donut, which is high in sugar, which is high in calories. It's going to feel great and euphoric for about maybe 30 seconds.
And then I'm on my waist.
Exactly. And then I'm going to beat myself up for it for the rest of the day. So also I was saying to the ladies, when you go out for the walk, what will this do for me? This is going to get my heart pumping. This is going to get me sweating. This is going to get me some fresh air. Trampolines, what is this going to do for me? This is going to make me sweat like a pig. This is going to get my heart racing. I'm going to feel just amazing, and apply that. And I even said to the girls, write that down and put it on your fridge. What will this do for me? And I said, for the month of June, this is what we're doing. And they are pulling this in, and they're like making it apply, you know, because I think we all went a little bit off the skids there.
And that's
you know?
a really, really good and a very simple tip. Actually,
Definitely.
stick something like that on the press or on the fridge or whatever. What will this do for me? Because you will actually read it. You will see it.
Yeah. And you can apply that to so many areas of your life. You know, what will this do for me?
Yeah, no,
you know?
Absolutely, Anne-Marie. Any particular, like you mentioned walking, and then you happened to talk about, you dipped into HIIT, which is, I know, is not for everybody.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I would have done here for a while, and it stopped, I'm listening to you now going, I really have to, you know, get myself
put it in, Barbara, put it in.
No, I really have to get myself back in action. But what I used to do was, you know, you put the spuds on.
Yes.
You know, you put the pot of potatoes on, and you're waiting 10 minutes for them to boil or whatever before something else. And
do a few squats.
Use that 10 minutes.
Yeah, 100%.
You know,
100%. You can do a few squats. If you're brushing your teeth, you can do a few squats. One hand on the hand basin, throw out 10 squats like that. Throw out another one while you're doing your cleanser. Do you know what I mean? It's to keep things, you know, utilize the things around your house that you're able to. Housework. I mean, I'm one of the ones, I sweat like a dog washing the flipping floor. I'm like, Jesus, what's going on here? So all of that kind of stuff. But the tips are, like that, exactly what you say, while you are, you know, you've got 10 minutes here or 10 minutes there or whatever, cut down the scrolling, get off Facebook, get off the social media and say, well, I'm going to use this time and I'm going to set this for 10 minutes. 10 minutes is nothing. 15 minutes. You can get, you know yourself, Barbara, you know how to work out. You can get a good sweat on in 15 minutes if you set yourself up a little routine. Do you know what I mean? 2 or 3 exercises, that's all you need to do.
And that's the thing, scrolling on the phone.
Yeah.
Because even when I was training, say within the coaching or whatever, you talk about the phone, people say, I've no time. And then, you know, there's apps that'll tell you how long you have actually spent on your phone. And
shocking, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, you say, well, what else could you have done within that 2-hour period?
Yeah,
you know?
100%. And but the key is with that is to try and fit something regularly into your life that it's not going to disrupt your whole life. And as well as that, you know, a lot of ladies, like the first thing is they haven't got time. I've got kids, I've got this, I've got that, I've got the other. Use the people around you to help you. Now, you don't have to broadcast your business. You don't have to tell everybody in your group, I'm doing this, that, and the other. And in fact, there's no need to. Sometimes it's better to keep things a little bit more private, because sometimes when you do advertise something, people are watching you and they're like, oh my God, she's not doing very well, or she's not, whatever it is. So it's almost like keep these things private to yourself if you want to. And if you want the help of other people, say somebody needs to mind your kids, if you can't get, the world will not stop turning if you leave the house for a couple of hours and get an exercise class done. All of that stuff that you are putting off, that is there and is putting you off going to your class, is going to be there when you get back.
And so, one of the big key things actually, and it definitely affects women in menopause, is confidence drop.
Definitely.
And when your confidence drops, you kind of feel, oh, you know, well, I can't, or I can, or I shouldn't, or I couldn't, or whatever. And in actual fact, even starting like that, say with your classes now, and they get back up online, back running, is even starting at home like that online.
Definitely.
Then kind of building up to getting back outside, maybe into a group.
Definitely.
Whatever. Because when confidence, I mean, that lady that you were talking about there, the lady in her 60s, you know, her confidence, and even from listening to you, like her confidence had just shot up over that.
100%. Like, I mean, she is such a lovely lady, and I know she won't mind me talking, because I said I was going to refer to her, and she said that's fine. And I mean, when she came to me first, she couldn't even look me in the eye to explain exactly what was worrying her, you know, because she'd never been in a gym environment in her life, and as far as she was concerned, that's not for me, that's for other ladies. But then when she had a little old health scare, she was like, well, what's gonna happen to me if I don't address this? You know, what is down the road for me? Broken bones, broken hips, a lifetime of injury and misery, you know? So, I mean, as well as that, the whole mental health issue surrounding exercise, you know yourself, you feel better once you've exercised. It just releases that endorphin, good hormones that will help, I always find, get you through a stressful situation. If you're, you know, it's amazing how much you can cope with when you feel body strong, you know. When you feel weak in your body, your mind feels challenged and weak also. Whereas I think if you work hard, you put back your shoulders, you put on some nice gear, you sort yourself out, you feel a lot better, and it will resonate in here
Yeah,
too. You know,
yeah,
it definitely helps, you
yeah.
know.
Esther, any questions there at all coming in from viewers?
No questions, just a couple of comments. Sharon D says, it makes sense that we spend so much time preparing for other things. Why wouldn't we prepare for such a big change? And Zita is loving your mantra, and she's going to put it up today.
Good girl, Zita. What will this do for me? I tell you, you know what? It can apply to a lot of areas.
That should be your new hashtag now on Facebook. When you're
What will this do for me?
What will it do to me, or do for me? Because it is, as I said, it is so simple.
Definitely.
And we'd ask it of ourselves in so many other things, like picking shoes. Do I need them? What will I wear them with? What will I do? You know, and
you're right.
For food,
yes.
Isn't it so obvious?
Definitely. And I'm definitely, I do believe that your food affects your mood 100%.
Oh, absolutely.
Without yeah, of course. So, I mean, exercise will also affect your mood too. The whole thing, it's all married up, you know, as much as we kind of think, well, you know, I see a lot of the ladies who do say they go to organized groups when it comes to Weight Watchers or Unislim or whatever, and they say, oh, after that we go in and we have our tea and our scones and or whatever it is. And I mean, that's fine. Do you know what I mean? Because the either euphoria or the disappointment, whatever I happen to say, that, like, you know, we marry it up with food. It's a celebration. It's also a commiseration, you know, so it can affect your mood, you know, whichever way you look at it, you know.
Yeah, and I suppose we grew up in a generation, because I would do the CBT for, you know, for the weight and that, and we did, certainly our generation grew up where food was the reward,
100%. Yes.
You know, when you were small, you know, when you were sad, you were given something to eat, you know, and then when you were being celebrated, let's have a big meal. So food was always that part of the thing. And I suppose now when we are menopausal and we are trying to shift it,
that's it. And your metabolism changes as you get older.
Well, this is it, exactly. You're not burning what you used to burn.
Exactly.
We have a question in. We have a question in.
Yes. Zita's asking, starting from scratch with weights, what can I do?
Okay, so basically, I would recommend, if you're starting from scratch as somebody who's never used weights before, I would go to a trainer. I see a lot of girls who would say maybe start with weights at home or stuff like that, looking at a video or whatever it is. And that's great. That's great. But there's nobody there to correct you or correct your form. You know what I mean? If you get it wrong. And sometimes we don't tend to work out in front of a mirror. I have mirrors all in my place. When I brought them in, the girls nearly had a heart attack. And I'm saying, girls, it's not that we're all like, oh, look at me. I said, it's to look at form and to see how we're doing this, you know? So I would go to a reputable trainer or gym and find, you know, shop around and have a little look, because not every trainer is going to be for you. It's like every personality. And so I would hook into a gym and see, what do they offer? What do they offer somebody like you? You know, you're not just going to walk in there blind and say, I need to start training weights. I don't know what to do. They should be able to invite you in and discuss all areas of your life and see, what is it specifically that you want to gain from weight training? What are your goals? Is it because you want to build muscle and strip fat? Is it you just want to become more flexible? What is it? What is your goal? So depending on what your goals are, you need to set out a plan for yourself, how many days a week you can exercise. Like I say, don't travel too far. Don't go too far outside that little, you know, you should be able to find somebody within 10 or 15 minutes to make it doable for your day. And starting off with the large muscle groups, you're talking legs and arms. Okay, so I would go light to start so that you get your form correct. And if you aren't able to get to the gym, you have to exercise at home. I would start with lighter weights, 2s, 3s, and 4s, no heavier than 4 kg to start with, especially for upper body weight. Start at your 2s, getting your form correct. You've got your bicep curls, you've got your dumbbell raises, all of that kind of stuff, and squats. Now go on to any of the websites if you're not with a trainer and have a little look to see about squats, because squats need to be done correctly. There's definitely a definite, you know yourself, Barbara, there's a way to do these correctly. And if you learn it incorrectly, it's very hard to unlearn that. You will always carry on doing it incorrectly. And you're open to injury.
One of the things, actually, just as you were talking about, even say the 2 kg, and somebody says, sure, 2 kg weight is nothing. Actually, if you're doing 10 reps
100%.
on, say, the butterfly, and you're only carrying 2 kg, you are going to feel it.
Yeah, 100%.
You are going to
100%.
feel that
Yes.
repetition.
Yeah.
Even if it is only 2 kg.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, if you're coming from an area where you're starting and bringing in, say, like a HIIT session and bringing weights into a HIIT session, you know, when you've done 30 seconds of forward raises on a 2 or a 3 kg, your arms are burning by 28, 29 seconds, and you've still got 2 more rounds to go, you know? So don't go heavy thinking, oh, geez, this is all right, I'll manage this. You know, it's a process, you know, because that is when injury occurs. Exactly. That's when injury occurs. And as well as that, ladies, you know, don't go crazy, because we're that little bit older, our recovery takes a little bit longer, and recovery and fatigue are things that will lead to injury if your recovery isn't, you know, if your recovery isn't correctly executed, that you're not giving yourself a chance to recover from what you've done. So you have to look at the big picture. It's a long road, this. You have to see, okay, I'm not going to be, you know, deadlifting 50 kg by 6 weeks time, because you won't be. So it's going to be, you have to look at a little plan for yourself, make out a plan for yourself, like we would for most other areas of our lives, and say, I'm going to start on the road, start at the very beginning. Definitely, if you can find yourself a trainer or train with somebody reputable online, but when you are training online, you must be aware that that person isn't there to correct your form and see exactly what you're doing. That's the only thing about, you know, online
There's another
training.
Question in as well.
You know, yeah, sorry, carry on.
You're all right. No, I'll let you chat away. It just
Karen is doing intermittent fasting and she's loving it. So how does she safely combine it with exercise?
Okay. Intermittent fasting, like, I'm not a nutritionist, so I'm only going by my own experiences of it. I think your lady who was on last week, she's a nutritionist, so she would be definitely the lady to chat to you about that. Obviously, you know, depending on the times that you are fasting, you know, you have to make this conducive to your workout so that you can work out at a time that you feel energized enough to work out. You know, there's no point in you thinking, right, okay, I've been fasting, say from 12 o'clock until 7, 8 o'clock this evening, and I must just throw in a HIIT session at 6:30. That's not going to work for you, because you have been the whole day where your glycogen levels have fallen, your energy is depleting, and you are basically in line for a feed, you know, and you're on that road. So if you are intermittent fasting, I would have your meals, your meal planned so that you have enough nutrients, enough energy, enough water to get you through the workouts that you need. You need to plan these things. And see, I'm not too sure, like, as regards what times frames that this lady's fasting for and stuff like that. And I'm not a nutritionist, but you know, when it comes to that, I'm going for my own thing where I've done intermittent fasting, which has worked for me. And over a short period of time, I find that I get kind of irritable if I can't kind of eat when I want to eat. But then
because you really do need to keep.
Yeah, and you know, my exercise. Yeah, my level of exercise might be different to this lady. I would, you know, if I'm personally training somebody, I usually train with them rather than standing and watching them as a trainer. You know, if I'm group training, I will watch the group. That makes all the
difference, Anne-Marie. You know,
I think it does.
It really, really does. Rather than because I remember years ago, I did actually work with a personal trainer for myself. So this is when the kiddies were small.
Yeah.
And but she didn't do it with me.
Yes.
And but I didn't know any different.
Yes.
But actually now, I would prefer, if I'm working with, that they're actually side by side with me.
Yeah.
Doing it.
Yeah. Exactly. You know? So my days can be very long if I have back-to-back PTs, especially if they're all singles. So, you know, my eating plan is different, but intermittent fasting, when I would have had a controlled space of time that I knew I was able to execute it correctly. In fact, I should be flipping doing it now. That's what I need to do, is get back onto a bit of intermittent fasting.
Where are we on? I think, do you know, look at, you see, this chat could go on all day.
Gone over.
Honest to God. But I tell you, it has been absolutely brilliant having you on. And
well, thanks for asking me, Barbara.
And we will have to connect properly.
Oh, definitely. It's been too long, girl.
Excuse me, outside of lockdown.
Definitely.
But,
and I must say to you, Barbara, I commend you on this whole thing of your menopause for the month of June, because it is something that even though there is a lot of information about, and there is so much stuff out there you can click on, we learn from each other. My experience is different to your experience and the next lady's, so we learn from each other.
Yeah, and that's what to expect. And I think, do you know what, actually, just finishing up, I think what happens is with a lot of women is, well, so-and-so isn't suffering this, and so-and-so isn't suffering, or she has this and she has that. And in actual fact, there is one thing, is that as much as all women will go through it at some point or other, they won't all actually suffer the same.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
So symptoms will vary, and that is one kind of closing note I would say to every woman. The fact that, as I've said before to somebody, night sweats aren't part of my makeup for menopause.
Lucky you.
Yeah, I know. So I believe, but I would have other things maybe that somebody else doesn't.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So it is different for every woman. And so for whoever's watching out there, I just tell you, just because your pal isn't going through the same thing doesn't make them any less of, an issue for them or whatever. But yeah, it is a topic we could definitely talk about all day.
I know.
Particularly I better start a bit of work on my triceps now coming into the summer.
I'm coming for you, Barbara.
I'm getting a few tips from you, Anne-Marie. Look, thanks, Pet. You're so good for coming on today.
Oh, listen, no problem at all. Listen, ladies, I hope that's been of a little bit of useful information for some of the ladies out there.
Absolutely. And we'll have your link.
And girls, you're all fabulous. Whatever you're going through, you're all fantastic.
This is it. We'll have your link on the page underneath the chat, and anybody then can connect up with you on Facebook. And yeah,
nice one, Barbara.
Seeing you soon. So
thanks a million. God bless.
Cheerio, everybody.
Thanks, ladies.
Bye.
Set up. Bye bye.